Hello everybody and welcome along to rounds 3 and 4 of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America presented by the Cayman Islands. Very un-Cayman Island-like weather at the Circuit of the Americas, which is the venue for these next two rounds. Overcast, damp, horrible yesterday, and not too much better this morning. Just outside of Austin, Texas, off the end of the runway for the airport. This purpose-built circuit's been around for a few years now. Built for Formula One. Couple of really, I suppose you would say, signature areas. The climb up to the more than 90-degree left-hander at turn 1, then down through turn 2 and through the S's. Action area and the braking area at turn 12 onto the long back straight, and then also into turn 12, slightly downhill braking area. Plus, of course, turn 19, which is the penultimate corner, where there is an awful lot of room on the right-hand side if you want to go wide. The only good thing I can tell you about this, I've never raced here in a Porsche, but I have raced here, so it is a circuit we know. The good news is that we have 25 cars with their engines fired up and ready to go. There was no qualifying yesterday because of the weather. We're in behind the safety car for a single formation lap. That means that we'll start in championship order. And Jeremy Shaw, who joins me now, well, we're ready for this. This looks tricky. That's certainly not full wet, but not full dry. But how are they going to line up, Jeremy? Because championship positions and points are being used, and that will leave at least one driver out of position from his pace so far this weekend.
Well, that's absolutely right, John, and certainly these weather forecasts, the weather forecast that we saw yesterday did not suggest we're going to see what we're seeing right now with a pretty heavy fog there and a damp track. But these are the conditions that they ran yesterday in the first practice sessions. The first two practice sessions, it wasn't yesterday, it was Friday, 2 days ago. They didn't run at all yesterday. It was supposed to be just qualifying yesterday, but that was cancelled because of the weather. So as you say, we are going on the championship positions, and that's really bad news for Maxwell Root, who had a dismal time in the opening two rounds at Sebring in a number 7 car, now running number 7, hoping that change of number will bring a bit more luck, because that More Speed Right Motorsports joint entry was starting. It will start now, way back in the 19th position, having been 6th quickest yesterday in the practice sessions, on Friday, I should say, in the practice sessions, John.
So let's quickly run through the grid for safety's sake, and you can pick out where your favourites are. Just 25 of the 26 cars. Jeremy will tell you how they'll come to the green flag at the end of their formation lap, or will they? We might be under a safety car start, but the time will start when they come across the line this time. Here's how they line up with Jeremy.
Yeah, this is round 3 of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America presented by the Cayman Islands. We've got 13 brand new 992 Pro entries, 7 992 Pro Ams, and only 5, unfortunately, 991s, because Philippe Marcian in the Goldcrest Motorsports number 72 had a mechanical problem yesterday, will not start today's race. So on his own at the back in car number 56 from Austin, Texas, is Frank Razzo. On row 12 of the grid, Joe Still in car number 8 alongside Jeff Myshak in car number 29. Row 11, Freddie Willingham in car number 21, and on the pole position in the 991 category is Matt Holcomb in car number 55 for Goldcrest Motorsports. Moving on to the 992 entries, Mark Thomas, a newcomer to the series this weekend for MRS GT Racing in car number 16, alongside Maxwell Root in car number 7. Row 9 of the grid, Bill Smith in car number 42 and John Goetz in car number 57. Row 8, Kurt Swearingen in car number 17 alongside Tom Collingwood. Then the second in the Pro-Am categories is Efren Castro in car number 65. 13th and 12th on the grid respectively are Hutton McKenna in car number 88 and Eric Johansson from Sweden in car number 14, 2 Pro entries. Then the best place of the Pro-Am cars, local resident staying in his own bed this weekend, is Alan Metney in car number 99 for the iFly Kelly Moss team. Row 5, TJ Fisher in car number 58 alongside Ryan Gates in car number 11. Row 4, Sebastian Carrazzo in car number 27 and Dylan Murray in number 38. Row 3, Sean McAllister in car number 2 and his JDX Racing teammate Parker Thompson in car number 9. Parker was quickest, by the way, in the first session on Friday in damp conditions. Row 2, another local guy, Riley Dickinson from New Braunfels in Texas in car number 53. Alongside him is Lee Key in car number 12. And on the front row of the grid, as it was at Sebring, the two Kelly Moss Road and Race cars. Car number 3 from the Netherlands is Kai van Berlo, but on the pole position, the championship leader in car number 15 from the Channel Islands is Seb Priaulx.
So that's how they line up. The clock, as I said, has started. So we're into the 45 minutes. We did not get a green flag. So we are still in behind the Porsche safety car. I suspect that's as much to do with giving the drivers a chance to see the conditions on the track as anything else. So the two junior drivers, Priaulx and Van Berlo, at the front of the field. Then the 311 RS Motorsport Lee Keen. Then another three juniors, Riley Dickinson, Parker Thompson and Sean McAllister, the Hardpoint EBM and two JDX Racing drivers in that order. This is giving the drivers a chance to find out where the damp patches are. They're just going up through turn number 9 at the moment, over the top of the rise, and that's interesting at the best of times. When it's a bit damp, even more so. And it looks a bit greasy out there this morning as well. The question will be, how many went for the Michelin slicks and did anybody go for the wets? It's hard to say without being trackside and walking on the circuit early on what you would go for. Brand new 992 cars, as Jeremy said, at the front of the field for Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by the Cayman Islands. And the cars running the 18-inch wheels at both ends of the cars here, which is at odds to what is the 992 road cars. They have 20s at the front and 21s at the back, but for the racing tyres, they're on the Michelin 18-inch rims, 18-inch tyres, so 18-inch rims. Now, the restart zone is between 19 and 20, so the penultimate left-hander. Big slide there. So it is greasy out there, Jeremy, at the moment. This is the worst of all worlds, but the safety car lights are out, so we will come to a green flag this time around. Now, if they're going to go side by side, they're meant to go side by side from 15, which is where they are now. And I don't think they're going to. I think this is going to be a single file start after the safety car accelerates away. Lots of flat six engines being revved within an inch of their life as the safety car, I was going to say accelerates away, but moves away gently and carefully. Oh no, they are going side by side. All right. Through the long 16, 17, 18 area. This is the area when it's dry and warm here that destroys your right front and your right rear tyre. The safety car not really getting away too far through turn 19, right up on the red and white curbs on the inside here. There's a bit of a sausage curb there, and you can straddle that curb to help you get round so you don't get track limits. It's very damp running down the hill. Normal braking area is just where that little road comes in from the right-hand side. So it's Seb Priaulx in the Multimatic Kelly Moss Road and Race car on the inside, the left-hand side, waiting for the green flag. The green flag is a long way down the front straight. Still waiting. Lovely start. They've been told to stay in line until we get the green, and we are racing. And out from the third row of the grid, that was a nice start by the two red and white Porsches, but it is, I nearly said Andy Priaulx there. Seb Priaulx gets into turn 1 first and then is gently moved off the road by Kai van Berlo, and Van Berlo goes through into the lead. It's going to be slippery around the outside at turn number 2. And looks like Lee Keane coming through there.
Yeah.
And both of them have gone off at turn 4.
Yeah.
So,
and John, there's track limits are definitely a factor here. If you gain an advantage by running off the racing surface, you will be penalised. And there's no question they gained an advantage there, those two, by running off the road. So that was definitely a shortcut on the track. I was speaking to the race director, Randy Buck, last night, and he was very, very clear about what would be called for a penalty. That is certainly something we will look at.
And I can see now from the lines that have been taken that it is very greasy on the racing line. Coming up the hill there through what is effectively turn 8, the right-hander, before you get to the top of the hill. You normally go right up on the red paint there, but that looks extremely greasy indeed. And those people who took a slightly wider line look good. Well, there's the spray coming off on the back straight, so there is definitely damp patches on the back straight. Now, is that people with wet tyres looking for grip? Down into the braking area, turn 12 at the end of the back straight for the first time. Lee Keane in second now. And up into third is Parker Thompson. Seb Prio pulls it down into fourth. And the man from the outside of the front row, the other Kelly Moss Road race, Kai van Berlo, the other junior driver, he is leading. That looks treacherous out there at the moment, Jeremy. Absolutely treacherous.
Yeah, really, really tricky out there at the moment, no question about it. And yeah, the sun is beginning to break through, so I think it'll warm up pretty quickly, the track. But right now, it's a real struggle out there.
Still very damp on the top surface through that long section towards the end of the track. 16, 17, 18, starting from the bridge, turning just before you get under the bridge, and then balance the car on the throttle normally down the inside. That was the a pass there for position with Sebastian Carrazzo in that number 27. He was on the wide line. I think that paid off for him too well there in that bright highlight, the yellow car. Van Berlo's clearing off, Jeremy. This is a masterclass in driving in tricky conditions at the front of the field.
Well, it really is, but there's no question in my mind he shortcut the course on going through the S's on at first lap, and he pulled away as a result of that. He's pulling away even more now, but that's not the point, I would suggest. So that's certainly something I think that the stewards are going to be looking at, and wait and see whether there's any call on any kind of a penalty there.
Well, I know that race direction tends to be a little more liberal in the first few corners, but there wasn't any side-by-side contact there, and they can't say they didn't know what the track conditions were because we had an extra lap behind the safety car before we went green. So, yeah, interesting. I'm not sure they've been on the red there for Lee Keane. Well, he's making it work through 8 and 9, and maybe that is giving him a little bit of grip. Doesn't go across the curb at turn 10, interestingly enough. Just flattens out towards the bottom of the hill there in your braking area for turn 11. Onto the back straight. Nowhere near the apex for Lee there, but that might have been deliberate. Lee with Parker Thompson and Seb Prio and Riley Dickinson and young Murray behind him, Dylan Murray as well. Also coming up through the leading Pro-Am driver in 7th position. And that's a very good run indeed from Thomas Collingwood, who started down in 15th for BGP Motorsports in that number number 69 car, first in his class.
Indeed, and my spies are telling me that Tom Collingwood is the only guy in this field that started the race on dry weather tyres.
Wow.
Which is somewhat curious. The other way around, right? Everybody's on slicks except for Collingwood. Yeah, my spy has just corrected himself. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. So Tom Collingwood is on wet weather tyres and taking full advantage of that in the early stages of this race. I think as the race goes on, he's going to be in trouble pretty quickly. But right now, he's making hay while the sun, well, it's sort of shining, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Problem for Joe Still in the Goldcrest Motorsports 991 car. That's the older cars, grandfathered in for a year in this brand new for 2021 Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by the Cayman Islands. Across the line, Van Berlo by almost 6 seconds. Lap time 2:29 last time around from Van Berlo, and he's getting dry quickly. They were doing 208s, 2.9s, 2.10s in the practice sessions earlier in the week. That tells you how difficult it is. We're still under green at the moment, so I'm not sure if Still's car has got going again. One or two spectators. I know that there were some first responders and some armed forces personnel in the grandstands as the cars rolled out this morning, should I say. So we have got people watching here this weekend. Lee Keane in the bright red number 12, under pressure from Sebastian Priaulx through turn 8 again. A little bit of a slide there, trying to straighten out those two corners. It is right across the top of the brow at turn 9, and you straighten that out as much as possible. Seb Priaulx taking the scenic route, not quite having to show his pass before he got back in through the exit to turn 10. He'll not get away with that too many times. Big open spaces here, but you can't take liberties over track limits, as Jeremy was saying, particularly short cutting through the S's area through 3, 4, 5 at the bottom of the hill. Beautiful pictures, Jeremy. I well remember the predecessor to this race a few years ago, running into the twilight here at COTA, and you and I remarking how good the Carrera Cup cars looked around here. It's a big wide open circuit, these new 992s, a little bit extra horsepower but not too much, but they are much more aerodynamically efficient. A new rear wing with 11 different positions for the teams to play with, running about 510 horsepower from the 4 litre flat 6. Big aero changes at the front and the rear of these cars from the previous running machines. So Seb Priaulx then in 4th position, lost a bit of time there to Lee Keane, but a relatively long race. That said, we're coming down to the first third of it, Jeremy, already been completed.
Yeah, we are, and time flies, doesn't it, when you're having fun? And certainly right now, there's a few drivers having fun out there, and some of the others who are not so much. But Kai van Berlo was his lead on that last lap was reduced by around about a second by Parker Thompson. So the former open wheel star Parker Thompson, who was a gem through the early stages of the road to Indy, won a lot of races. Never actually won a championship, but he did everything but. He was second and third in both the USF 2000 and Indy Pro 2000 championships, making the move. He made a sort of tentative move a couple of years ago to sports cars, drove for Jeremy Dales and Harrison Bricks and JDX Racing in a few events, also did the Canadian series north of the border, finished second in the championship up there. This year, making a full-time switch to JDX Racing in that buyer's Porsche Car number 9, and he's doing a great job. And right behind him now, and falling back just a little bit, is Lee Keane in that bright red 311 RS Motorsports entry. He's under intense pressure from the championship leader Sebastian Priaulx.
Tom Collingwood still in 7th, holding on to Pro Am. His last lap time, his best 2:30, and the Slickshod cars are now getting quicker than that. So we're at the crossover point. Remember, he started on wets in the number 69 car. The 55 is the Goldcrest Motorsport car that is leading the 991 category, that almost hippie coloured machine. That's Matt Holcomb doing a good job in that car. And by the way, Lot A this weekend and for a wee while here at COTA is a vaccination centre, and that's what the military personnel are here for this weekend. No general admission to watch the racing this weekend, but the military personnel are administering vaccines here, and nobody's going to begrudge them a few moments to step into the grandstands early on Sunday morning to see a bit of motor racing. And we give our thanks to everybody involved wherever they are in the world in the fight against the pandemic. Our leader clearing out early on has been pulled back to 2.9 seconds.
Yeah, and last time around, Parker Thompson was the quickest car on track. He turned to 2 minutes 27.4, gets the 2:29.2, so almost 2 seconds quicker last time around in that number 9 car. the buyers really a construction Porsche running in that second position, and the young Canadian driver trying to close in on the even younger Dutchman in the lead of this race. That's Kai van Berlo. And now up into third position goes Sebastian Prius, who's finally managed to find a way past the car number 12 of Lee Keen. Steeman Lehman Lehman Keen in that bright red Porsche for the 311 RS Motorsports team, brand new to the sport, to professional racing this season, that team, but with a very experienced driver with Lee Keen at the wheel.
Leader coming down to the heavy braking area before he goes on to the back straight at turn number 11. Lee Keen feeling the need to go defensively now. Prior's gone through up into third, and Keen now defending against Riley Dickinson, the team hardpoint EBM number 53, the EBM Earl Bamber Motorsport. Earl and his brother Will. Earl, a Porsche factory driver. Well, they've run their own team quite successfully for some years in the Asian Carrera Cup, which gets underway next weekend at Shanghai in China. Can't wait for that one. After the action on that this year as well. And also EBM, of course, running cars in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. And again, no stranger to big victories with the GT Daytona version. They won Bathurst 12 hours the last time it was run, which was 2020, wasn't it? So this little group, which on the back of that is number 38, and that's Dylan Murray, one of the junior BGP Motorsports drivers. All the younger drivers automatically enrolled into the Porsche Junior scheme here in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America presented by the Cayman Islands. Not just about what happens on track, various sessions for business, for media. The idea is to give the drivers a long and profitable career, or a chance to do something else if it doesn't work out for them. My goodness, Jeremy, down through the years, the various Carrera Cup Junior programs has produced some fantastic talent that have gone on to the very top levels of motorsport. Lee Keen getting sideways in turn 4, took too much curb, and that's allowed the 53 of Riley Dickinson, the red, white and grey car, to get alongside. This is a very, very strong manoeuvre from Dickinson as they go through up the hill towards turn 9. Dickinson just about holding on to that position, as Dylan Murray was right in there as well, but a tiny mistake there by Lee Keen almost cost him maybe a couple of positions.
Yeah, and Dylan Murray, he's right there, isn't he, in that bright green car in the fifth, sixth position. Some super battling here. Lee Keen really struggling through the S's. That car stepping sideways, and he just about controlled it and was under intense pressure, but just managed to keep Dickinson at bay. Dickinson, of course, from he made his first tentative steps in racing here at Circuit of the Americas when he joined David Moore's team, which is based in Austin. He himself is based less than an hour away in New Braunfels, which is between San Antonio and Austin. And so he knows this track like the back of his hand, as young Riley Dickinson, and he is really putting the pressure now on Lee Keen.
I do like the flow of this track. I think it works very well for sports cars. I know it has its detractors when it comes to Formula One, particularly the second part. It's a track almost of 3 parts, isn't it? The run through from turn 1 down through the S's to turn 9, then the long back straight, and then the twisty bit, sector 3 effectively from turn 12 to the end. And that's the bit the 2 twisty bits are the 2 bits I really like. It's a real rhythm part of the circuit through 2, 3, 4 and 5. And then, as I say, from 12 through to 20. Now, a little bit of lappery going on here. And that is the number 8 car I think they're going by at the moment. That is the Goldcrest Motorsports car that spun earlier on. So he did get going again. That's the white and red car. So he's being lapped at the moment and stays dutifully out of the way. Being told in the driver briefing, and plenty of this done online or through documentation nowadays. Drivers being lapped, stay on the racing line. It's up to the guys behind to get by. That's exactly what happened. Van Berlo by just 1.6 seconds now from Parker Thompson. Kelly Moss from JDX, from Seb Prior, who's another 7.5 seconds further back, with the track beginning to dry and the lap times coming down just a wee bit. Now this time it's Dickinson who's under pressure from that very, very bright green number 38 of Delavery, but he can't get the inside pass done as he comes through turns 8 and 9, and he's not close enough to dive down the inside through turn 11 onto the back straight either. The back straight has got a little bit of a kink in it, but what it has got is a couple of quite pronounced rises. You go up onto almost a tabletop, then there's a wee dip, and then you go up again, and then you drop down. So you're almost on a roller coaster there of the back straight. Used to be very bumpy indeed down towards turn 12 in the braking area, which is downhill, which is always difficult. You're downhill braking and turning at the same time there. But it has been diamond cut just a little bit to take the worst off. MotoGP had the worst of it a few years ago. Couldn't keep the front wheels on the ground, never mind the back wheels of the big MotoGP bikes. Now through the slow turn number 15 and heading back towards the start-finish line. Meantime, further back down in the gathering gloom, number 14. That's another bit of lappery going on. Joe there being lapped by Eric Johansson for MRS GT Racing. And I'm looking, still Collingwood, although he's just, that was a pass for Collingwood, was it? No, he's just gone past him the lap before. Collingwood's in the background there, Jeremy, looking for damp patches for his wet weather tyres. And, that was a nasty moment at turn 5.
Oops.
And that was Mark Thomas in the Pro-Am MRS. There was a huge shunt yesterday with a Aston Martin there in one of the other races here, where pretty much every panel on the Aston Martin, having gone on straight on at turn 5, was dented, and I mean every panel, front, back, side and roof. Just going back to Tom Collingwood, he's looking for wet patches, Jeremy. He's still in 8th position. He's just lost that position to Eric Janssen, but he's still leading Pro-Am by a decent margin. So at the moment, the gamble on the wet weather tyres at the beginning is paying off for him.
It is indeed, and we're halfway through, almost exactly halfway through now this 45-minute race, and so Tom Collingwood is going to be looking for any sort of damp patches out there on the racetrack to try and keep those tyres cool, or as cool as possible, because now the sun is out, the fog is lifted pretty much completely around this 3.5 mile racetrack, and it's the track temperature is going to heat up pretty quickly, and that is going to make these Michelin tyres work even harder. New fastest lap there last time around for Parker Thompson in that second position car for JDX Racing, and he's now within a second of the race leader Kai van Berlo.
That's just gently come down, hasn't it? 7/10 at the moment. This is very nicely paced by Parker Thompson. Still leading is Mark Holcomb for the Goldcrest car in 16th overall in the number 55. He's having a very good run indeed, and he's got 3 cars between himself and his nearest competitor. Although he's having a fairly solitary run, you can see a bit of a dry line beginning to show through the S's now. Able to use quite a bit more curb through there, because not all of the big yellow pyramid curbs, orange pyramid curbs, are in place, as they have been for some of the races that we've seen. Certainly they were when I raced there in the 24-hour race. You couldn't get anywhere near getting all 4 wheels onto the curb because of that. Across the line, Van Berlo, full course yellow is out with 21 minutes to go. Van Berlo goes across the line. The safety car is stationed at turn 1, and this is going to pack the field back up. Well, the leader's gone through, and there's no sign of the safety car, so we're going to have a full lap here. I'm not sure. Oh, well, we've got a car needing to be recovered from turn 4-5 area, and that's where the leaders are right now. Might like to see them slowed down just a...
That's Bill Smith, I think.
I think you're right. Yeah, it is Bill Smith for Top Racing in the Pro-Am category. It's the number 42 car, the bright orange machine. I'd like to see them slowed just a wee bit more than that, I think. Safety car couldn't pick them up in time. As I said, stationed at turn 1.
And this caution flag is certainly very good news for particularly Seb Priaulx, who was charging in that 3rd position. He just set the fastest lap of the race. He took him a while to get up into, took him a while to get first of all past Lee Keane, but then once past, he got himself in the groove, and he just set the fastest lap of the race, quicker even than Parker Thompson. So it was looking like a really good battle was going to develop at the front of the field. Now it is definitely going to develop with this safety car intervened.
Yeah, very good point, Jeremy. Lee Keane, by the way, has been passed by Ryder Dickinson and Dylan Murray. Little 3-car gaggle there. The 311 RS Motorsport car now down to 6th position, but of course they're all going to stack up once we do see the safety car. I suspect that might only come out for 1 lap, because the recovery vehicle was already at Bill Smith's car, and there is a cutout there that you can get behind the barriers. So just under 20 minutes to go. Gives us an opportunity to say thank you very much to all at the track who are working hard, our volunteer marshals. Safety workers, medical staff et al. Can't go motor racing without you. Amazing weather has changed massively. With that sun coming through and burning off the early morning fog.
Yeah, incredible how quickly it changed, isn't it? I mean, it was looking pretty dire as the cars were lined up on the grid, and even the first lap or so of the race, and all of a sudden now it's pretty much picture perfect. The track is pretty much dry now. I think lap times down in the fastest time was we're still some way away from fastest times, aren't we? But I think 2:24 the quickest lap so far. 2:24.1 for Sebastian Priaulx. So obviously still pretty slick out there. The fastest time in practice, which was set during the 2nd session on Friday, was Kai van Berlo, a 2:08.9. So still a long way away from dry weather times here. The old lap record, by the way, back in the GT3 Cup days for IMSA. And the cars were last here at Circuit Americas back in 2017. The race lap record was set by Trenton Estep at 2 minutes 12.2. The qualifying lap record by Jacob Edson in the Kelly Moss car that is, the sister car that is was leading a race, now showing Parker Thompson leading a race at the moment. Not quite sure why that is, because they're still under full course caution. But the Racing for Children's car for the Kelly Moss Road and Race team, a 2 minutes 10.1 was the qualifying lap record set here at Circuit Americas in 2017.
2007, is it that long ago? My goodness me. It's Jeremy Shaw, John Hindhaugh, IMSA Radio and IMSA TV together. Live, free, no blocks, no breaks. And also, I'd like to point you towards the new Porsche Carrera Cup North America and Porsche Motorsport North America YouTube area with a number of features on there, plus all of the replays of the season so far. Plenty of information on there from Porsche Carrera Cup North America presented by the Cayman Islands, and everything else that Porsche Motorsport North America are involved on. That's the official Porsche Motorsport North America YouTube feed. Don't forget, every single race for Porsche Carrera Cup North America presented by the Cayman Islands for this season, available live free, no blocks, no breaks, there on IMSA TV and of course on the IMSARadio.com site as well. Good to have your company wherever you are. So waiting for the safety car lights to go out. Kai van Berlo just coming round to the end of turn number 15. Still quite a lot of cars out of position. Notice the number 21 Goldcrest car, Grady Willingham, way off the back. He's still through the S's. There's a little gaggle of 3 cars as well, just coming down the end of the back straight. That's Bill Smith, who's moving again. Also, we've got the number 17 Kurt Swearingen, the BGP Motorsports, the SCI Motorsports car in that gaggle as well. So through past the start finish line, and we have at least one more lap under full course yellow. Leaders just coming up the hill now behind the Porsche safety car. So Jeremy, we're counting down now towards the last, it's going to be around about 10 minutes if we go green at the end of this one. I've got to say there's a lot of young charges at the front of the field there.
Absolutely right. This is going to get really, really interesting. It's Kai van Berlo that leads this race, just 20 years of age, from Veghel in the Netherlands. Although he lives nowadays in Miami, where he is studying business administration at Miami University. So Kai van Berlo leads. Parker Thompson from Red Deer, Alberta, Canada, fabulous place name, in second place for JDX Racing. Van Berlo's teammate at Kelly-Moss Road Race, Seb Prio from the Guernsey and Channel Islands, UK, although he's travelling around the US these days with his family. In third position in car number 15, Riley Dickinson, another youngster there, actually has a birthday coming up. It'll be his 19th birthday, if you could believe. He's in the fourth position, and Dylan Murray, another teenager, in fifth.
So that's a time ticking down. If you're Kai van Berlo, you're going, yes please, yes please, yes please, keep ticking, keep ticking. You're just going on to the back straight now. Still leading, by the way, in 16th position overall in the 991 category, Goldcrest Motorsports driver Mark Holcomb in that multicoloured car. Still leading in Pro-Am. Tom Collingwood's going, thank you, I've cooled my tyres down a wee bit now. He started on wets, remember, and put 6 cars actually at the time, between himself and Alan Mentney, who is the next of the Pro-Am cars. Now, they're a lot closer now. He's lost the time gap, but what he's got is a lot of very quick drivers in between himself and Alan in the iFly car. So, stand by for action as we're about to go green again, I think, this time round. This is like a different season or a different continent to when we started. Safety car lights are out. It will be just over 10 minutes to go. And now the control of the race is Kai van Berlo's duty, and it will be a single file restart this time around. The acceleration zone, the restart zone, is about halfway down the next straight, so he can go anytime. Watch for the line, the safety car line on the road. He's about there now, so he can go anytime from now. He's holding, coming to the final corner. As soon as the green is shown, you can pass. Green's out now. Green is out now, so you can go. That was nicely timed by race control and by everybody in behind. Parker Thompson just pulled out. Oh, there's an incident behind. That's the 991 category that all got caught up through turn 20. Down the inside for Van Berlo, took a very tight line. Thompson in second. Then it's Seb Prio behind Prio, Riley Dickinson. Dylan Murray didn't get such a good start, or restart, should I say. Just on 9.5 minutes to go. Really good through the S's by Kai Van Berlo, massively committed through turns 4 and 5. Right up on the curb and trusting that those curbs have got the grip that he required. Now there was a schmozzle at the back of the field. Lots of drivers going wide, including our 991 class leader there, Mark Holcomb. But he is still, Matt Holcomb, excuse me, he is still scored as the leader in class. But there was definitely a car down there, which I think was Joe Still, who was turned around and off to the side of the road on driver's right at the exit of turn 20. Lovely restart though, Jeremy, by Kai van Berlo.
Yeah, very impressive there. The young Dutchman there really getting into gear there away from the start, making a nice clean pass through turn 1. Excellent through the S's. Actually stretch out a little bit of a lead on the first 2/3 of this lap. So really, really good restart from Kai van Berlo. Parker Thompson is in second place still, and he's got half a dozen car lengths or so over Sebastian Prio.
Prio, Thompson, all young chargers. The top 5 now, all part of the junior championship. And the big prize for them at the end of the season is going into Europe for the shootout for effectively the Junior Cup, which would give them a funded drive in the Mobil 1 Super Cup, which supports Formula 1. And again, that is an area that we've seen used before as a springboard by a number of drivers. Lee Keane now under pressure again, and this is Eric Johansson for MRS GT Racing, who's right in his wheel tracks. That's the red number 12 of Lee Keane in 6th, and Johansson in behind in the silver and stars and stripes coloured car as they go across the line now. That is the GT silver base coat, I think, of the car that they've laid that over the top to turn 1 in the sunshine. Have the sun in their eyes there now, Jeremy, as they come up 3 wide behind. Yeah. Right up the inside for Maxwell Root in the Mosby car. In the Mosby Right Motorsport car. I saw the Right Motorsport on the side there and second-guessed myself. I forgot they'd teamed up for Max this year. So he's fighting his way through. He started way down, didn't he, of course, in 19th position. But as Jeremy said when he was doing the grid, which seems an age ago now, he was 6th quickest in the combined qualifying, combined practice times. And he's right up at the moment behind Ryan Gates for 311 RS Motorsport. Maxwell Root will be very disappointed that he didn't get the qualified, Jeremy. He had pace in that Most Speed Right Motorsport car in the sessions early on.
Yeah, that's right. So he certainly got some work to do there. But this caution should have helped Maxwell, because he'll be able to get back onto the tail of the leading group, at least briefly, and see if he can work his way through from the 12th position. He made the restart in 13th. He's made up 1 position so far. He's going to try and make up some more. But that was a brilliant first lap for Kai van Berlo. New fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes 21.3, full second quicker than Parker Thompson.
No points awarded for the pole in this race because it was championship points. We had no qualifying because of the weather yesterday. Later on today, another race, another 45 minutes, and the grid for that will attract the pole position points, and it'll be set by your fastest lap in this race. So Kai van Berlo putting himself on pole position at the moment. and it will be Parker Thompson in second place as it stands, from Seb Prior in third. Fourth will be Dylan Murray, fifth Riley Dickinson, but they're all getting quicker. And as I say that, it's Parker Thompson, who takes the fastest lap as he goes across the line. So the fastest race lap here will set the grid for the second race later on this afternoon. You'd expect them just to get faster towards the end of the race, Jeremy, as it dries up, wouldn't you?
Absolutely right. He's going to dry up pretty quickly now. I think times are going to come tumbling down in his last 4.5 minutes of this race. So probably be 3 laps to go. I think in this race, 4 minutes and should be 3 laps to go. And last time around, Kai van Berlo went quickest at a 2:20.238. But Parker Thompson in his wheel tracks there in car number 9 for JDX Racing was in the 19s, 2 minutes 19.7 for Parker Thompson. Seb Prior a 2:20.5. Those are the top 3 cars on the racetrack and the top 3 fastest drivers at the moment.
Magnificent manoeuvre on the... Oh, and that's, again, it's Joe Still who's just lost it on the far side of the circuit. Actually, that was a pretty decent save in the run down to turn 11, I think that was. Still people looking for wet out there as well. Tom Collingwood, one of them. He's going to lose out in his starting position for the next race, of course, because his 2:27.5 is his fastest lap, and that was set much earlier on when his wet tyres were the best thing to have, Jeremy. And so that might not do him the best. Well, I say that, and I'm looking at the Pro-Am field. 2:27 is still the fastest Pro-Am time. So I take that back. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, it's very, very. He's done a really, really nice job. And Efren Castro is up in second place now in Pro-Am, ahead of Alan Metney, the local hero, which is an excellent job by Efren Castro from the Dominican Republic in that Team Hardpoint EBM car number 65 in second place. And he's a full 4 seconds clear of Alan Metney, who's been dominant in the Masters category of the GT3 Cup over the last 3 years. And he also won a race overall as well, has Alan Beeds, now down in the 16th position overall, which is unaccustomed for him. New fastest laps at the front of the field as they complete lap 15.
Yeah, starting to come down now. They're still 10 seconds off the practice pace that they showed earlier in the weekend. It's the Circuit of the Americas. First race of 2 this weekend. Rounds 3 and 4 of the 2021 Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by the Cayman Islands. And as well as all of the other prizes and the bragging rights up for grabs this season. As in all of the classes, each of the 3 classes, there's a trip to the Cayman Islands, all expenses paid for the winners. And they're +1, of course. Don't have to go on their own. And that will be at the end of the year. Perfect time to visit that area of the world. Just an hour or so's flight south of Miami. Into the last couple of minutes, and Van Berlo leads for Kelly Moss Road and Race. Parker Thompson second, and just not able to get on terms.
Well, he's certainly closing, John. He was on that last sector. He was actually lost a little bit of ground. You're right, on this sector now. Kai van Berlo just gone purple in sector 1 and sector 2. It had been Parker Thompson with the fastest lap of the race. He got the gap down to less than a second between first and second, but van Berlo now is trying to stretch his legs and see if he can pull away. It will be white flag this time around.
He got it down to just under 7/10 of a second. It went back out to a second. There's nothing going to be left on the table here. This is championship points at stake in the 3rd round of the 2021 season. Jeremy Shaw, John Hindorf. Fantastic racing in really tough conditions earlier on. The track now, well, 45 minutes ago, we were lapping 20-25 seconds slower than this. We could barely see from one side of the track to another. Very wide indeed from the leader there, Jeremy.
And that is certainly over the track limits. They can go onto the red paint, but not beyond that. And I'm not so sure he wasn't beyond that. In fact, I think both of them might have been actually. So that's certainly something to keep an eye on, because it's championship points. That's, as you say, and it's 5 championship points for the pole position this year in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America presented by the Cayman Islands. So that's 5 points. That could be a big swing.
Down the inside on the wet stuff. That is Brave going down to turn to turn 20. I'll get my words out in a moment. And that was Thomas Collingwood. He's still on the wet tyres. That's why he can feel that he can go there. But he's going to be out dragged up to turn 1 there by Maxwell Root. This will be Max getting just onto the edge of the top 10. But his best time's at 2:25. He's been mired in traffic. Might have been better to drop away a little bit there, Jeremy. Give himself 3 or 4 seconds and go for a decent lap time for the next race.
Yeah, possibly so. That's a very good point. But it's certainly been an excellent run by Matt Halcombe in that Goldcrest Motorsports car number 55, in the 14th position overall, ahead of all but one of the Pro-Am contenders, the only exception being Tom Collingwood, who with those wet weather tyres is still hanging on there now in the 12th position. But it's been an excellent run for Matt Halcombe. He won one of the races at Sebring to start off this championship in that Apex Grading Landscaping entry. He's from Dallas, but not Dallas, Texas, Dallas, Georgia, for Matt Halcombe in that car number 55.
Leader is at turn 16 now. He's in the last third of the lap. How close is it? It's not that close. About a second, just over. Van Berlo's timed this perfectly. We'll keep an eye. I say that, and all of a sudden, it's back down to nothing. Thompson is right there. So the timing yet to catch up. That's through turn 19. They're going into the final turn. Down the inside, there's touch. Trading pins. Shot, run to the line. My goodness me. Thompson's taken it. Thompson, I think, has taken it on the timing screen. Got his nose up the inside. I'm not sure it's the half a second that was showing on my timing screen. But Thompson has taken it there, squeezed up as they came through turn 19, the penultimate corner. All of a sudden, Thompson was right there. And Van Berlo, there was me, the curse of the commentator, Jeremy. Oh, Van Berlo's timed this perfectly. He's done the race great. And he's lost out on the line with Prior on the podium in third, ahead of Riley Dickinson in fourth. Then David Murray, Lee Keane for the 6 in that bright red number 12 car. In the classes, Collingwood is going to hang on, I think. There he goes across the line now in the Pro-Am car. The number 69 started on wets. That was really good race management. And waiting for Matt Halcombe to come through as well. Here he comes in the number 55. Just waiting for him now to come across the line. There he is with the green front on that car. Checkered flag is much closer to turn 20 than where we start, which is towards pit out. Whew. Well, Parker Thompson steals it on the last lap. I wonder if they ran outside of the timing loops, which is why my timing screen said there was 1.3 seconds between them. I wonder if they ran outside the timing loop.
No, there was 1.3 seconds, but Parker Thompson just really got the hurry on that last lap, and he closed it right down. It's a brilliant last lap. He set the fastest lap of the race, but only briefly, because right behind him on the road, Seb Prio took the fastest lap on that last lap of the race, at 2 minutes 15.7 for Seb Prio, and that will give him pole position for this afternoon's race. So a fascinating first of 2 races for today.
Yeah, and alongside him will be Riley Dickinson, who put in a 15.9, 16.3 for Parker Thompson. He'll be on the inside of row 2 from Kai van Berlo, on the outside of row 2. And then I think it's going to be Dylan Murray from Lee Keane, the next row back. Congratulations to Parker Thompson. JDX Racing take the victory in the first race of 2 this weekend from COTA. Tom Collingwood, what a great run for BGB Motorsports. Gambled on the wet weather tyres and won Pro-Am in 12th overall. And Matt Halker, the third of our three winners in the 991 class for Gold Crest Motorsports. Looks like the weather's picking up. Should have a full dry race later on this afternoon. Check the local listings for details. Jeremy Shaw was alongside me, John Hindhaugh. Thanks to our production team here at COTA and up at Charlotte, North Carolina. Please join us for the second of two races. It will be round 4 of the 2021 Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by the Cayman Islands, later on today from COTA. Bye for now.